Meet the sport of golf. Once seen as a game played by overweight men looking to kill a few hours without killing themselves, golf has developed into a technical activity where mental strength is paramount and poor fitness is frowned upon. But whether you're as big as a bear, sharp as a tiger, or as large as a walrus, the game has proven that anyone can take it up. But only a chosen few can follow through with consistent power and precision and claim themselves a green jacket. And like each stroke of the club, no golfer can hide from the truth. A club can mean many different things to different people. If you're hungry, a club is a type of sandwich you may bite into. And if you're bored, a club may be the place you go to dance your worries away. A gambling man? Clubs are one of the suits in a pack of playing cards. A caveman? Grab your club. We're going headhunting. But perhaps no club is more commonly used than the golf club. Originally made of wood before moving to hickory in the 19th century, the golf club has gone through a series of transformations over the years to improve a golfer's distance on the ball while maximizing the club's durability. Although there are some that have taken the durability thing really, really far.
We thought of the swords to plowshares, but because we're not farmers, we're golfers, and in the golf business, we decided to take nuclear missiles and turn them into golf clubs.
That's right. In the mid-90s, an American company tried marketing golf clubs forged from Cold War-era Soviet missiles.
The blend of high-tech metals that we took from the missiles and blended it with stainless steel and made this incredibly strong alloy, and the club just really launches the ball.
The novelty never really took off, as pro golfers looked to more conventional advancements and let the weapons be themselves. Another weapon pro golf has scrapped is the belly putter. With players prohibited from anchoring any strokes to a pivot point, like their chest or midriff, the long-handled club was no longer as of 2016, leaving many of its advocates understandably upset.
I think my opinion would be that I don't think it's probably in the best interest of the game to ban the long putter, and that I think there are some more important issues that probably should have time spent on them than putting.
Coming up, the legends of the game. Taken at face value, golf is a simple sport. With the modern game dating back to 15th century Scotland, clubs, balls, fashion, and even the golfers themselves have evolved through the years. But the name of the golfing game has remained the same. Get the little ball into the cup in as few strokes as possible. But out of all the millions of men that have taken up the game, only a handful can seriously be considered legends and leaders on the major championship wins list. The greatest amateur to ever play the game was also golf's greatest putter, American Bobby Jones.
Robert Tyre Jones Jr. was the king of golf in the golden 20s. For a full decade, his magic putter, Calamity Jane as he dubbed it, cut a swath through the golfing firmament. There were some who could drive a ball farther, others who on occasion surpassed him with their iron shots, but few were his equal on the putting green, and none matched his all-around ability.
A lawyer by profession, Jones is best known for his unique Grand Slam in 1930, when he won all 4 major golf tournaments of his era, all the Open and Amateur championships in both the US and the UK. He would win 7 major titles in all, before retiring at the ripe old age of 28. He then founded and helped design the Augusta National Golf Club, co-founded the Masters tournament, and eventually even had a film made based on his extraordinary life.
I was blown away by this guy, Bobby Jones. Here's a guy that was an amateur athlete, never became a professional athlete, but beat all the pros, was the best golfer in his time, and one of the greatest of all time, but never was a pro, never took $1 to play golf.
Another legendary 7-time majors winner was Slamming Sammy, American Sam Snead. The man with the signature straw hat was considered to have the perfect swing and won a record 82 PGA Tour events, his first coming in 1936, his last in 1965. Gene Sarazen also won 7 majors and was one of golf's greatest players in the 20s and 30s. Sarazen completed a career Grand Slam by winning all current major championships when he finally clinched the Masters in 1935 by hitting what is known as the shot heard round the world, a double eagle on the 15th hole. The other 7-time majors winner is Arnold Palmer. Golf's first global superstar, Palmer brought the game to the working classes thanks to his humble blue-collar background. And with his all-out attack on the ball, Palmer was wildly popular as Arnie's army swarmed the fairways.
There it is, a birdie ball.
He ended his career with 95 professional wins, 62 of which on the PGA Tour, before becoming an extremely prominent businessman. Palmer owns a course that features an event in his name, the Arnold Palmer Invitational, founded the Golf Channel, and negotiated the deal to build the first golf course in China. Tom Watson ranked 6th of all time, with 8 majors wins, but 5 of those came at the Open Championship at St Andrews, with his first coming in an 18-hole playoff over Jack Newton back in 1975.
I wasn't too happy out there. I was determined. I was determined to play at the best of my ability.
Very calm, too.
And not, well, you didn't see me on the inside. I tell you, the last 2 holes when we were tied, it was churning inside. I mean, the butterflies are huge.
Known for having defied Father Time, Watson was highly competitive well into his 60s, making his final appearance at the age of 65 at the British Open, the tournament he was synonymous with.
I took my son, who was caddying for me, Michael, on the last tee after I hit my drive in the dark, almost in the dark, and I grabbed him on the shoulder and I said, "Son, no tears. Let's feel the joy of what I've done here in this tournament."
Perhaps his most special Open experience came at one he didn't win. Just 2 months shy of his 60th birthday, he led to the 72nd hole in the 2009 Open, before an unlucky bounce and a shaky putt caused him to bogey the final hole, enter a playoff with Stewart Sink, and lose. Watson's performance to almost win a major at 65 has been described as one of golf's greatest exploits. 2 golfing icons have won 9 majors. One is South African Gary Player. The only non-American to win all 4 majors, the man known as the Black Knight has 165 professional wins to his name, taking titles on 6 continents over 6 decades. South Africa's sportsman of the 20th century and prolific golf course architect holds records for most Open wins on home soil, most Australian Opens, and most World Match Play Championships. The other 9 majors winner is the innovative Ben Hogan. Widely acknowledged to have been among the greatest ball strikers ever, Hogan mastered the swing thanks to something most golfers didn't do much of in his day: practice. With a career that spanned over 4 decades, Hogan's influence on golf swing theory changed the way the sport was played.
I don't think the players are any better today than they were 100 years ago. I still think that Ben Hogan and Sam Snead are better than any individual that I've seen today.
At 11 major championship titles, or third all-time, is Walter Hagen. The first American to win the British Open back in 1922, won 3 more titles at St Andrews to go with his 5 PGA Championships and 2 US Opens. Considering the newest major, the Masters, came to be during his down years, who knows how many more majors he could have won. Nonetheless, Hagen won fans over not only for his game, but for his expensive fashion taste. That said, he could afford it when you consider he may be the first $1 million sportsman. Tiger Woods is number 2 on the all-time championships leaderboard, a rank he raced to early in his career, only to have stalled thanks to an unfortunate combination of the death of his father Earl in 2006, his faltering frame, and some really poor decisions outside the fairways. Despite the rut he's in, Tiger seems to think he can play forever.
Most sports, you have a certain lifespan in the sport, but golf, you can play it till, I see guys are 80, we have a guy at my home club who's 91 years old, still out there playing. He's on the range practicing. I think that's just incredible.
And finally, the man who sits on top of the major championships winners heap is the Golden Bear, Jack Nicklaus. The 5-time PGA Player of the Year won 6 Masters tournaments, 5 PGA Championships, 4 US Opens, and 3 British Opens. He's also finished second 19 times and third 9 times. With off-course activities that include golf course design, charity work, and book writing, the World Golf Hall of Fame member has meant so much to the American culture, he even received a Congressional Gold Medal, the highest national civilian honor.
I'm honestly and completely humbled to be here today, and I guess you'd say I'm floored to be standing here. And when you look at the past recipients of the Congressional Gold Medal, it reads like chapters from a history book.
After the break, the lingo, the ladies, and the Ryder Cup. Jim Furyk isn't just any golfer. In 2003, he won himself a major championship, the US Open, and 7 years later was named PGA Tour Player of the Year. But his greatest scoring accomplishment happened in August 2016, when he recorded the lowest score in PGA Tour history. Furyk shot a 58 during the final round of the Travelers' Championship. It wasn't enough to get him the victory, but the record is pretty sweet as he hit 7 pars, 10 birdies, and an eagle to achieve the feat. Now, to those who have no idea what golf is about, hitting birdies may sound sadistic, but it's all part of the crazy golf vernacular. Your score in a game of golf is generally calculated as the difference between the player's number of strokes and the par score. So clearly, the fewer strokes it takes to get your ball in the cup, the better your chances are of winning. But the names associated with each score can be a little confusing. The fun one, the most exciting one, is the hole-in-one. Such a rarity it is on golf courses around the world that it really ignites the gallery, and in golfing terms is also known as an ace. The shot that generally allows golfers to breathe a sigh of relief is par. or getting the ball in the cup in an amount of strokes equal to par. So if it's deemed it takes, for example, 5 shots to get it in the hole, and you do it in 5 shots, then that is a par. Pars are boring but effective. And then come the rest of the shot names, which aren't boring at all. If you sink a ball in 1 stroke under par, that's a birdie. 2 under par is an eagle. 3 under is a double eagle, or more commonly known as an albatross, while 4 under par is a condor. In the other direction, if you sink a ball in 1 stroke over par, that is a bogey. 2 strokes over par is a double bogey, followed by a dreaded triple bogey. While the hole-in-one is a sight rarely to be seen, it is interesting to note that between 1935 and 2015, or in 80 years of golf, only 18 men have ever shot an albatross. No, not the bird, but got their ball in the hole in 3 under par in majors competition. While stroke play is the most popular form of scoring, there is also match play, where 2 teams play each hole against each other, with the lower score between the 2 scoring a point. If the players are tied, then they each get half a point. The match play scoring system is the format used at the Ryder Cup. The Ryder Cup is an international biennial battle between Europe and the United States. The first competition took place in 1927 when English seed merchant Samuel A. Ryder presented the Ryder Cup to the Professional Golfers Association of Great Britain to place as a prize for an international competition between American and British professional golfers. The golfing figure depicted on top of the trophy reflects the image of Abe Mitchell, a former gardener turned professional golfer and instructor to Ryder. The tournament was generally a rather cordial one, with friendly banter taking place amongst the players win or, in the case of Walter Hagen and the Americans in 1933, lose.
Having a little conversation, and there were some of the boys that asked me what I thought of the course, but I couldn't tell them very much about several of the holes. I didn't see them.
Now for Walter Hagen, Jr.
Well, there really isn't much object in me being up here. I mean, I don't play golf, and I don't make any money out of it. Neither did my dad this time.
But as the tournament evolved and mainland Europe joined the Great Britain and Ireland teams starting in 1979, the stakes got higher, and the competition became incredibly fierce. For no prize money is won at the Ryder Cup. The only award is global golfing bragging rights. In 40 matches between 1927 and 2014, the Americans have won 25 times, losing 13 and claiming 2 ties. The Great Britain-Ireland contingent won 3 times, losing 18 and tying once. While Team Europe took the title 10 times since 1979, with 7 losses and 1 tie. Some of the most notable Ryder Cup moments include the 1991 War on the Shore, where the late Spanish great Seve Ballesteros and American Paul Azinger resumed their 1989 Ryder Cup feud, which the Europeans won. Ballesteros boldly expressed that the American team has 11 nice guys and Paul Azinger. But Azinger would have the last laugh as the Americans won a wildly contentious event that brought players to tears from the tension of it all. And then there was the 2012 meltdown, or the miracle at Medina, depending on what side you were cheering for. The meltdown came from the American side. Up 10-4 after 14 matches, they could only manage 3.5 points out of the 12 up for grabs on the last day. Northern Ireland's Rory McIlroy had another miracle take place on the final day. Having confused Eastern Time with Central Time, McIlroy overslept and was rushed to the Medina, Illinois Country Club in an unmarked police car just 10 minutes before his tee-off time.
in a way, it wasn't a bad thing because, I didn't have time to think about it. I just went out and played, and, I probably played the best I've played all week.
It has history, heated confrontation, and sublime shot-making. Win or lose, the Ryder Cup is a must-see.
Maybe it's the greatest event we have in golf. It brings out the best in the competitors. You see greater shots in the Ryder Cup than you do in individual Open championships, major championships. You simply do.
Golf clearly isn't just a man's game. In fact, since the Women's Professional Golf Tour was founded in 1950, they've provided the game with some of its most influential names. Babe Didrikson Zaharias was the first superstar of women's golf, but that wasn't the only sport she excelled at.
Awfully glad to get the chance to be on the United States Olympic team at Los Angeles.
Before golf, Zaharias was a track and field star, winning 2 gold medals at the 32 Games in Los Angeles. But after earning the nickname Babe for hitting 5 home runs in a baseball game as a child, it was clear there was no sport too tough for her. When asked if there was anything she didn't play, she said, "Yeah, I don't play with dolls." Zaharias won 48 times as a pro, including 10 majors, one of which while wearing a colostomy bag, as she was only 1 month out of colon cancer surgery in 1954. She died 2 years later, but remains perhaps the most influential woman in sporting history. Other influential women of golf include Kathy Whitworth, who won 88 LPGA Tour events, more than any other woman or man on any tour. 8-time Player of the Year, Sweden's Annika Sörenstam, who is considered by many to be the greatest female to ever play the game, even having an award named in her honor, given to the top player in the 5 female major championships.
To be able to put my name on one of the major awards is pretty special. I've always thought the majors define a player's career, so to partner with LPGA and Rolex in this fashion is fantastic.
And Michelle Wie became an influential face for women's golf by becoming the youngest to qualify for an LPGA event at age 12. Wie's exploits paved the way for other Asian superstars on the women's scene, including Imbi Park and Lydia Ko. Still to come, when the fairway becomes a runway. Since golf was invented in Scotland, it's only natural that its fashion take on that of its forebearers, once synonymous with plaid. But much like the sport itself, golf fashion has evolved with the times, going from suits and silk ties to lots of color, with the exception of Gary Player and his signature black. But with the turn of the century, style and sponsorship went hand in hand.
One of the things that I always noticed, the pros like to dress really, really well. And throughout the years, it was always in the back of my mind that if Ralph Lauren ever gave me a call, I'd love to wear their clothes.
One person whose clothes Tom Watson probably wouldn't want to wear is that of John Daly. Daly is one of the few golfers bold or oblivious enough to walk through prestigious tournaments of the world wearing ridiculously loud pants. They're loud, he's proud, and we don't really know why. Other color crusaders include Ricky Fowler, who loved orange on the last day of tournaments, and who was once an advocate for the big hat, as was 2014 US Open champion Michelle Wie. And if Paula Creamer once always wore pink, Sweden's Jesper Parnevik seemed to be in that and everything else. From the flamboyance of the late Payne Stewart to Ian Poulter and his claret jug trousers he wore at the British Open, some may find golf boring, but you can't say the same for its fashion. It may seem easy, but make no mistake, being a pro golfer is not.
Do you have any clue how difficult it is to be a PGA professional? You know how many bosses you have? If you've got 500 and they're all married, you got 1,000. You understand? You got to be a referee. You got to do rules. You're a doctor. You got to teach.
But it's a beautiful game because it's everybody's game, even morphing into different forms and returning to the Olympic Games at Rio in 2016 after a century-long absence. No matter how young or old, how big or small, gone are the days when the game was associated with retirement. No way, golf is where the action's at. And that is the truth.